Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Public Improvement Commission hearing of October 10th, 2019. Our first item are the hearing minutes, the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on September 26th, 2019. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 26, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moved. Moving on to our public hearing continued section on a petition by At the Stony Brook LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in West Roxbury, consisting of curb realignment, sidewalk, and pedestrian ramp reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement, street trees, and driveway curb cuts. Locations are Washington Street on its northwesterly side at address numbers 3193 northeast of Montebello Road and Montebello Road at its northeasterly side northwest of Washington Street. This was new business on August 8th, 2019. Had its first public hearing on August 29th, 2019. Had its first public hearing continued on September 26th, 2019. And this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair, 3193 Washington Street, Montebello Road, Jamaica Plain, 2 sheets dated June 29th, 2019. Good morning.
Good morning. Steve Sawyer from Design Consultants Inc. here on behalf of 3193 Washington Development LLC. One item of just note for the record is the project entity or the ownership change from Stony Brook LLC to 3193 Washington Development is the current owner, and that's indicated on the plans. So in the past, there were some issues regarding the bump out. We actually removed the bump out. That was removed to maintain the 5-foot pedestrian way on Montebello. We widened the sidewalks, widened right up to the face of building, which is 2 feet back of the property line. So with that, there'll be an easement granted for those 2 feet, which that 2 feet of.
Just to focus on the specific action, we'll get to the pedestrian easement in
Yeah,
a second.
yeah.
Can you walk us through both the overall plan for the project and then the specific repairs you're proposing?
Okay, the overall, the project itself is a redevelopment, 46 residential units with commercial on the ground level. There's entrances to the commercial access along Washington Street. There was originally there was a curb cut on Washington that was closed. So all access to the underground parking is off of Montebello now from this area here. In that area where the curb cut was closed, we're providing tree planting with a tree well. There's existing trees where the tree wells will be improved. There is a permeable paver strip along the curb line, back of the curb line. The sidewalks will all be constructed in front of the building. At this intersection here, there was an apex ramp. We were asked to separate those. Those have been separated. There's a slight realignment of the crosswalk there to be restriped. The reciprocal ramp here was just recently done with tactile warning strip, tactile warning pad, and new concrete there. This area here, we're widening the sidewalk on Montebello with a new tree planted. BPDA wanted some additional planting. We're providing a tree here. We're maintaining the 5-foot pedestrian full width behind that tree well with a 14-foot wide curb cut at this location. And then we match the sidewalk at the property line, on the northwest end of the project site. I think that basically covers the improvements that we're proposing.
Is there an LMI for this?
I'm sorry.
Is there an LMI for this? No.
Yes.
Yeah, there is. Okay.
There will be.
There will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to confirm, with the existing signal equipment and splitting from the ramps on the corner, there's no conflict with the existing signal equipment with the new ramp locations?
So actually there's right at this location at the end of the ramp, that's where the mast is, or the ped head is. Yeah.
So there's no encroachment within the threshold? Or
There's no encroachment within the threshold.
Other questions or comments on this specific repair plan? Tom? Todd?
Excuse me. The tree pits, are you putting a tree grate over the tree pit? Or
No, it's just
open pit?
open pit.
Okay, so you need to ensure, so the LMI, okay, because you need to make sure that it doesn't become a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
Okay, because from visually, your brick strip is not in alignment with your tree pit, meaning your permeable paver strip is narrower than your full tree width.
Okay.
Okay, so thought see whether the footprint of the tree pit can be adjusted from a 4x6 to a 3x8.
Sure, we'll work on that.
So that way someone who is visually challenged may not walk into a
Certainly.
pit.
Other questions or comments? Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the petition by At the Stony Brook LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in West Roxbury consisting of curb realignment, sidewalk and pedestrian ramp reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specially pavement, street trees, and driveway curb cuts, as read in the record by the chair and as shown on the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division Specific Repair, 3193 Washington Street, Montebello Road, Jamaica Plain, 2 sheets dated June 29th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Moving on to our public hearing section on a petition by 3193 Washington Development LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to Montebello Road, a public way in West Roxbury, on its northeasterly side at the side of 3193 Washington Street, northwest of Washington Street. This was new business on September 26, 2019, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, 3193 Washington Street, Jamaica Plain, one sheet dated September 18, 2019.
Steve Sawyer, Design Consultants Inc. here on behalf of 3193 Washington Street Development LLC. This is just the easement to go along with the widening of the sidewalk up to the building face. It's a plan prepared by Boston Survey, and it's just basically to match the widening of the sidewalk to maintain it as pedestrian width.
Is there any foundation elements of your buildings that comes underneath the easement area?
The footing at this, I imagine, well below grade. There's the footing may jog out. It would probably be 12 inches out, but it would be at a minimum. I'm trying to recall if that's a full depth foundation or if that's just at grade, but you'd have a frost wall. So at 3 or 4 feet below grade, the footing might step out a smidge.
Or in the future, if the sidewalk needs to be repaired, who is responsible? I'm going to assume it is us who is that little bit wrong. Is it then?
No, it's still their private property. They're just granting an easement.
They will
Yep.
take care of that sidewalk.
Other questions on the easement? Bob?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve on a petition by 3193 Washington Development LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to Montebello Road, as read into the record by the chair and as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, 3193 Washington Street, Jamaica Plain, one sheet dated September 18, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item, on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Dorchester Avenue, a public way in Dorchester, located on its westerly side at address numbers 1203-1219, generally between Hancock Street and Greenmount Street. This was new business on September 12, 2019. This is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation Plan, dot block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet dated September 6, 2019.
Members of the commission, Mr. Chairman, good morning. My name is Rebecca Lee. I'm from the law firm Mintz, and to my left is James Gray from Stantec Architects, the architects for the project. Greg Contente from Samuels Associate, who's working with the owner on this project, and Jeff Heidelberg from Beals & Thomas, the civil engineer for this project. The dot block project is a 488-unit residential development with some ground floor commercial space to be constructed on what is currently a vacant lot in the heart of the Glover's Corner neighborhood of Boston near the intersection of Dot Avenue and Freeport Street. This project has received BPDA approval. It has its zoning relief from the Board of Appeal. A site plan application and a proposed easement instrument is before the Boston Water and Sewer Commission for review and approval. The CMP is with BTD for review and approval, as is the TAPA. So the project is well along and is moving towards obtaining a building permit and starting construction in the first quarter of 2020. We're before you on a whole suite of petitions, of which this is the first, and this relates to the city's wish at some time in the future to widen Dorchester Avenue, and this is the widening of a portion of the block. Since we don't own all of the frontage, that would enable Dorchester Avenue to be widened. So Jeff will show you the plan that's associated with that. Greg, is there anything you want to add about the project itself?
We can walk through it if there are questions.
Do you mind just giving before we, because we have the next 6 items are all, let us just give a sort of broad overview. Before we get
that's
to-
perfect. So as Rebecca mentioned, this is currently a vacant lot. This fronts Dorchester Avenue on this side, Hancock Street, Pleasant Street, and Greenmount. This is 4 buildings that comprise total of 488 units. It has internal drives as well that has a right turn only from Dorchester Avenue and a 2-way drive that connects Hancock around to Pleasant Street. Right now, what we'll be seeing mostly the pieces we'll be talking about are along Hancock Avenue and Dorchester Avenue. There are retail spaces along Dorchester Ave, Hancock Street as well, and a little at the intersection of Pleasant and Hancock.
For today's record, can you add a couple of sentences as to the community process which you have engaged? I'm sure you have had a very vibrant and extensive, just a few words to that front.
Yeah, definitely. We spent months with tens of meetings with, I think it was over 30 meetings with different community groups from Savin Hill Civic Association, Meeting House Hill, Jones Hill, Glen Point, and we've been able to listen to the community's input and be able to incorporate things such as a community room. We've made a point to really incorporate green space and the pedestrian experience to really fit in with the community. And I think they've been very happy with how this has turned out.
Other general questions before getting to the widening relocation? No walks to the widening relocation.
The first petition is on the Dorchester Ave widening. There would be an easement granted from the building face to the property line, which is 10 feet in width, and would allow for the future widening of Dorchester Avenue.
This is a highway easement, not a pedestrian easement.
Questions or comments on this? Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on the widening and relocation.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition by Winter Gold LLC for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines at Dorchester Avenue, as alerted in the record by the chair and as shown in the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening Relocation Plan, dot plot, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet dated September 6, 2019.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Moving on to our next item, a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the acceptance of pedestrian easements adjacent to the following public ways in Dorchester: Hancock Street on its northeasterly side, generally between Dorchester Avenue and Pleasant Street / Downer Square. Pleasant Street on its easterly side, generally between Greenmount Street and Hancock Street, Downer Square. And Greenmount Street on its southwesterly side, southeast of Pleasant Street. This was new business on September 12, 2019. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, dot block, Hancock Street, Pleasant Street, Greenmount Street, Dorchester, 3 sheets dated August 14, 2019.
Again, Jeff Halberg, representing Winter Gold LLC for the dot block project. The pedestrian easement here is located along Hancock Street, turning the corner towards Pleasant. Again, this is to allow future movements along this stretch. There are 3 sheets associated with this improvement going from Hancock to Pleasant Street, turning the corner. It's a variable width, so it allows for adequate space as the curb line does move. And then it turns to Greenmount as well along the stretch here.
All of the buildings have been set back by the property line. This is a formerly industrial commercial site, and so to allow for a much more pleasant pedestrian experience and the recognition that this block is a transition block that will be a place-making location in terms of new residential. All the streetscapes envelop the entire building, and we have arranged for, and in collaboration with BTD Public Works, PAC staff and BPDA, for the widening of the sidewalks all around the property.
And those get to the specific repairs, but what's going to be the resulting sidewalk width around the property, and how much will be sort of more for landscaping and furnishing?
So it'll be a 6-foot wide sidewalk. It's a 10-foot total, including the furnishing zone and curb line itself. So 3.5 feet for the furnishing zone, 6 inches for the curb line, plus the sidewalk.
Great.
Are there any activities on your ground floor that might require more of a commercial nature of a restaurant type or sidewalk access or anything? Do you see that in the
Not on Greenmount Street, no.
I'm not on, yes.
Yeah, Greenmount is more of a residential neighborhood. Yeah, Hancock will have it, and
But it'll be
Dorchester
within the
Avenue.
property line. The building on Hancock Street is set far enough away from Hancock Street that if there's a cafe zone, it'll be on the private property.
Questions or comments on the pedestrian easements? Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the acceptance of pedestrian easements on Hancock Street, Pleasant Street, and Greenmount Street, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Pedestrian Easement Plan, dot block, Hancock Street and Pleasant Street, Greenmount Street, Dorchester, 3 sheets dated August 14, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Moving on to our next item, on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Dorchester, consisting of curb realignment, roadway, sidewalk, and pedestrian ramp reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement, bike racks, street lights, street trees, irrigation infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, hydrants, and driveway curb cuts. The locations are Dorchester Avenue on its westerly side at address numbers 1203-1219, generally between Hancock Street and Greenmount Street. Hancock Street on its northeasterly side, generally between Dorchester Avenue and Pleasant Street / Downer Square. Pleasant Street on its easterly side, between Greenmount Street and Hancock Street / Downer Square, and Greenmount Street on the southwesterly side, southeast of Pleasant Street. This was new business on September 12, 2019. And this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan, dot block, Dorchester Avenue, Hancock Street, Pleasant Street, Greenmount Street, Dorchester. 6 sheets dated August 14th, 2019.
Jeff Howard from Bills and Thomas, representing Winter Gold LLC. First, I'll talk about Dorchester Ave. Shown here, we're showing specific repairs, new sidewalk. We have trees, tree pits located, granite curbing, and bike racks within the space here. What we've done in response to a comment from EPDA is we have shifted the trees back to accommodate for the future widening of Dorchester Ave.
Excuse me, sir. You have 500 units amassed over here. Do you have any internal passageways within the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Internal passageways?
Yeah, internal passageways, and if you can show it on that, because we want to get a sense of how pedestrians are going to be coming in and out from your complex, and how we.
So internal to the site, just to orient, Dorchester Ave along this side here, Greenmount, Pleasant, Hancock. The passageways, sidewalks run along with the interior access roadways. We have this one-way in. We have, we're calling this the Booner area, which will be a plaza that's pedestrian-friendly. Cars are welcome or permitted, but it's more for
Give me a second. Todd, are those
Private property.
private properties, their driveways, they are not laid out or anything, but you will have people coming out. I mean, these are pedestrian paths, right?
Yes. Yes,
So
correct.
they will be properly lit, Rebecca, they will be all the lighting standards.
Yes, oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the key is that while cars can make a right turn in, they will not be able to exit the site onto Dorchester Avenue. And that will limit the number of vehicles that will actually use that. But there are generous sidewalks on either side of the cartway on that private drive that comes off of Dorchester Avenue. And there is street lighting. The buildings will also have some external lighting as well.
From a public transportation perspective, especially whichever that street that is going north-south, right? Is there a bus stop on the other side which will cause people to cross that location?
Well, there's a signalized intersection located here at where Hancock meets Dorchester Ave, and that's a signalized intersection.
But if I ask you where's the closest bus stop, where is the bus stop?
Down by the gas station. Yeah.
It is at the same
Okay,
time.
Yeah,
so
but
they will
further
actually
down.
walk the light rather than trying to cross.
Yep.
I do think, and this is something that Commissioner Haskell raised in the business hearing, I think whether it's planters or something, sort of at the, just to encourage, again, sort of just to direct folks to the crossings at Greenmount and sort of down at Hancock Street.
At Hancock.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As we call them, positive pedestrian channelizer devices. So they're going in the right place.
So
Or something, or whatever.
discourage people from just cutting. Sorry, continue.
One of the questions I also have with that plan, the loading for the 5 buildings, will that be done in the internal cartways?
Not all the loading, no. So there's loading that's located off of Hancock Street, and we also have some off of Greenmount.
But it's on the property,
Yes, the loading would be occurring on the property,
so nothing is occurring on the street.
not on streets.
Thank you.
And we went into this last time, but it is a flush sort of sidewalk condition on Dot Ave, is that right? For pedestrians walking.
Yes, for pedestrians walking in the direction of travel.
Right.
It would be a flush condition, correct?
Thought the street light fixtures, have you thought far?
Yeah, they've
Is
gone
it the
through,
recycling, the same old stuff that might be there, or?
they've coordinated all that, including the types with the street lighting division.
Hancock, we have the same, similar specific repairs. We have the concrete sidewalks located along this stretch, along with granite curbing, bike racks, and treatments as well. This location here. The same condition occurs as you wrap the corner. We have accessible curb ramps located along with continuing across. Again, now we're heading to Greenmount. Greenmount is a little bit of a different condition than on Pleasant and Hancock in that the street trees are actually will be on private property. They won't be within the public way. So that's not included on the specific repairs.
Sorry, quick question, Mitch. So it's also a flush sort of entrance off of Hancock Street, but if I recall correctly, not off of Pleasant.
That's correct. So at this location here, it is not a flush curb condition as you in the path of travel.
So there's a ramp though that will go, pedestrian ramps that go across that.
Exactly. Yes.
Got it.
On Greenmount, we have streetlights, concrete curb, granite curbing, concrete sidewalks. and then the street trees are pushed off, onto the
Can you walk us through what the work you're doing to sort of bring out, as I understand, bring out the curb line at Pleasant and sort of the entrance to the western entrance to your property? On the sort of opposite side of your property?
So this hasn't been fully designed yet, we're showing it on the plan. We're showing these bump outs to create more channelized intersection. This will be a signalized intersection, and for that reason, we are continuing this this sidewalk with an accessible curb ramp on both sides to allow for pedestrian travel.
That's a future action.
That's a future action.
Okay.
Yeah, so the status of design is that 25% design comments were provided. The 75% design is underway and is expected to be submitted to BTD by the end of November for the review of the new director of engineering at BTD. And so we will be before you on PIC actions depending upon the final completion of city review and agreement as to how that should work, how the public sidewalk should work, and we will be before you both for specific repairs and a related maintenance agreement to agree to maintain those areas, whether they're green or they're hardscape.
Great.
Rebecca, that future traffic signal, is it going to be installed by you?
The proponent, yeah, it is a mitigation obligation that we inherited as part of acquiring the project site. It was the city's decision to have a signalized intersection. There were some earlier discussions about a roundabout. It's being designed by HSH. It's embedded in the TAPA that's under BTD review, and so it's our obligation to get that constructed and operating and to come online by the time the project is open for occupancy. And then the signal will be obviously owned and operated by BTD.
Other questions or comments on the specific repair plan?
Yeah, I just had a comment to make about Greenmount Street. I mentioned this, Paul and I had talked yesterday. So we have Foster Water Sewer has a drain manhole on Greenmount Street where the existing driveway is, and you want to put the new sidewalk. So where the line is to connect to the new sidewalk from the other side of the existing driveway, the manhole will be like in the middle of the sidewalk. So we talked last night, and we still need to know what your plan is to do with the manhole, if it's going to be in the sidewalk, if it's going to be on the street. And we talked with Katie this morning, and we're trying to set up some time for our people to go out with someone to do a field investigation.
Yeah, our hope is that we can rotate the cone of that
Right.
manhole so that it could reside outside of the sidewalk. That's our hope. When we go out and take a look at it, hopefully we'll be able to answer it at that point. But yes, there's additional coordination that needs to be done.
Okay, and then we just want to also reiterate, it was brought up at the last meeting that we do have a 72-inch pipe within the limit of work, and we do have the right to be there at any time if something happens.
Yes, and we've included the location of that on this plan.
Okay.
So we're showing the 72-inch line throughout the site.
Great, thank you.
There's an easement agreement that's being reviewed by Jim Seincross that addresses that drain pipe and your rights of access to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Lee, sorry, Rebecca. All your support utilities that are needed, telecommunications, I will get to the telecoms later. So all your water, sewer, gas, juice, all of those things, do you have understandings with the various utility companies to supply those needs, or are they supposed to upgrade their staff to provide feeds to you? What are they? Let's assume just gas. Just take one. National Grid, I'm going to assume in this part of the city. Have you had conversations with them as to them supplying your needs from them?
Yes, yes. And
Because sometimes what happens is when these conversations are not complementary to each other, these utility companies come at the 11th hour after you are done, or before you are done, or somewhere in between to dig up our streets, and then our streets get torn up by trying to serve you, puts us into an awkward. So do we have an understanding as to where you are getting all your utility connections? These are our standard stuff. This is an underground district, so there better not be any overhead wires. Are there? Got it, okay. So then the other challenge is all the telecommunication companies who may suddenly want to give 5G service to your area. So what is the level of interaction with those entities? Have you had conversations with them?
absolutely, yes. We've been coordinating with utility companies for probably almost a year now on locations, demands. We have will serve letters on them.
Because it would be very problematic for us if there are multiple ways of providing access to you versus them saying, oh, I'm sorry, we are trying to support a 500 unit development project, then I'm digging half a mile of streets just to get you a lateral connection.
Yes, and we've been discussing locations to be pulling off for gas and communications to limit the disruption within Dorchester Ave as well. So we've been having these conversations with the companies.
How about Eversource? Are you building any of their infrastructure, or is it going to be your infrastructure as part of the power requirements of the building?
So normally, they will be building the infrastructure
They will.
to the transformer. It's our responsibility to take that power from that point. And interior to the site, we would be installing all of the.
And the location of the transformer, location of the transformer, sometimes we get tagged with putting the transformer on city property.
We're showing our transformer locations within the interior of the site.
Yeah.
All within
yeah.
the interior.
Okay. So that just brings to Para's point, is basically a lot of the, coordination issues that become a real headache is the utilities as it pertains to the construction management plan of what you're doing, the temporary power, permanent power, gas. Obviously, that needs to be figured out in your CMP, because I'm not going to allow that activity amongst the active construction work site taking place on the city right away.
Right. And when I said they're doing work, I mean, they would be pulling the wires, we would be doing the installation of the conduits. I'm not sure. So there's a
So the
division.
vaults, you will own?
There's a division of work. Well, the vaults we install, they own at the end of the day. Yes, they own.
So we can, in response to this back and forth, we can revisit with each utility company their construction timing and scheduling and staging, and revisit our CMP to make sure that that's anticipated within what we're showing. And if there are deviations that are going to require street openings, we will show that and discuss that with you when we discuss a revised CMP. So we'll literally go back to the drawing boards and figure that all out.
Right, thank you.
I think there's a related piece where you may not hear from some of the companies that they necessarily are ready to sort of bring telecommunication services, for example, to your site. They may then come to us afterwards, so just to be mindful about the capacity that you'll want to have so you can.
Right. Thank you.
Other questions or comments on the specific repair plan? Todd?
I'll snap.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item contingent upon final approval from Boston Water and Sewer.
Make a motion to approve the petition by Winter Gold LLC for making specific repairs within the following public ways in Dorchester, consisting of curb realignment, roadway sidewalk, pedestrian reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specially pavement, pipe racks, street lights, street trees, irrigation infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, hydrants, and driveway curb cuts, as read into the record by the chair, and as shown in the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division Specific Repairs Plan, Block Block, Dorchester Avenue, Hancock Street, Pleasant Street, Fremont Street, Dorchester, 6 sheets dated August 14, 2019, with the caveat that Boston Water and Sewer has final approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Moving on to our next item on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the granting of outdoor seating licenses for the seasonal outdoor seating within Dorchester Avenue, a public way in Dorchester, located on its westerly side at address numbers 1203-1219, generally between Hancock Street and Greenmount Street, and consisting of seating for 84 persons and approximately 1,800 square feet within the public way. This was new business on September 12, 2019, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Outdoor Seating Plan, Dot Block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, 1 sheet, dated September 6, 2019.
The owner anticipates having ground floor restaurant cafe located in the new Dot North and Dot South buildings. We have granted a highway easement to the city contingent upon your approval, and these would be temporary outdoor seating areas. When the city comes to widen Dorchester Avenue, the outdoor seating areas essentially become the sidewalk. So these have a limited lifespan that is going to be determined by the city, and our proposed agreement with the city recognizes that reality. So this is to allow these in the interim, and this is the plan that shows them.
Great.
So we're showing here the cafe zones, which continue along John Ave within that easement area, and they do continue and wrap into the site, turning corners to the main entrance of the site. We're showing door locations. We understand that these, in the future, once there is a tenant identified, we may end up needing to shift those door locations, in which we would approach the staff for approval to shift those doors.
So my concern is, are we giving tacit approval of a cafe without having a customer as of yet?
What is going to happen is we will obviously have an operator that will have to get an outdoor cafe license from the city, and if they're going to serve alcoholic beverages, they're going to have to go to the licensing board. The reason we're having to get an approval from PIC is even though these are cafes that are going to be on private property, these are cafes that are within the highway easement that goes from the middle of the earth to the galaxy. It's not a pedestrian easement, so the city now will control this privately owned space through its highway easement. So we, in one moment in time, gave a highway easement. On the other hand, for this action, we're asking a license to have outdoor areas. So when we have a specific tenant in place, we will come back with a seating plan and with the proper approvals from the licensing board.
So these licenses in the short term are going to be with the building owners, and they're going to be open public seating until restaurant tenants are identified. And if and when restaurant tenants are identified, an assignment agreement will be entered into that recognizes that new restaurant tenant, and it will become a more formal sidewalk cafe license. But until then, it's with the building and it's public seating.
So do we have a layout of that public seating on that
Yes.
plan?
Yes.
I can't see that.
Tom, is Sarah okay with the 3 foot?
The 3-foot interior.
The 3 foot pinpoint for the fire hydrant?
Sorry?
There's a 3 foot pinpoint on this resulting sidewalk at a fire hydrant. Are you with access minimum as it can get?
Yes, that is the bare minimum that's required by code. Our commission has reviewed these drawings as of yet, so we're still working with the proponents to finalize these conceptual details.
So
That's news to us. These
Right.
plans have
Can you
been
be ever so kind and
circulated.
reiterate what I'm saying on your drawing so it is coming from you rather than me? Right?
So-
Keep it, keep
So the
slide there.
hydrant located right here, here's the seating zone first
Yeah.
here. The 36-inch passing minimum to keep an accessible route will be located along this stretch.
So while we are trying to, and we truly support your project, I mean, it's really nice, 500 units, but those 500 units are going to generate people. And so there's going to be more people walking in this area, and I find it a little bit challenging with all the good things which you are doing, and then you are making things massively challenging for all.
Well, we can see if we can play with the location of the barriers, the hydrant, and everything else, and we'll get it blessed by the Disabilities Commission before we go to
Double
Mylar.
seating thing happening, and there can be some flexibility to achieve all the good stuff without making things really, really problematic. Especially under new conditions like that, for us to go to minimum standards right off the bat is a little bit challenging for this commission. Unless the hydrant can be adjusted, I don't know.
exactly right.
And I do agree.
With the new hydrant, right?
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
So adjust it so that
Adjust it so
doesn't
you have
become
more
a
space. Understood.
awkward moment for us.
Did we set it back thinking about the sort of future or future alignment, or why is it set back from the curb? That's what you'll take a look at, Jeff.
Yes.
Great, okay. Other questions or comments on the outdoor seating license? Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item again, contingent upon some final review by PIC staff, versus disabilities.
Make a motion to approve the petition by Winter Gold LLC for the granting of outdoor seating license for the seasonal outdoor seating on Dorchester Avenue, as read into the record by the chair and as shown in the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Outdoor Seating Area, Dock Walk, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet dated September 6, 2019, with caveat that PIC staff make final approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Moving on to our next item, on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the vertical discontinuance of portions of Dorchester Avenue, a public way in Dorchester, located on its westerly side at address numbers 1203-1219, generally between Hancock Street and Greenmount Street, vertically above and below the grade of the sidewalk. This was new business on September 26, 2019. This is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Vertical Discontinuance Plan, dot block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet, dated September 16, 2019.
These are for below-ground footings, building footings that are within private property but within the city highway easement.
The one which you just gave us.
Yes, exactly. Well,
So quickly you take back.
yes, but limited.
No, not that.
Limited.
Try to understand the humor of the situation.
Yeah, so we're showing here the location of that easement that we're granting and then the vertical discontinuance for this footing. In addition to this, as a comment, we received the architectural trim that's located on the building itself does project out within this area. And so the current thing we were showing on the projection plan, upon further discussion, it should be shown on this plan instead.
Questions or comments? Not even the below or above grade. Members of the public? Okay. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the vertical discontinuance of portions of Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Vertical Discontinuance Plan, dot block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet, dated September 16, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to our final item of this set, on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the granting of a projection license for the installation of retail signage, awnings, lighting fixtures, blade signs, and other projections over portions of Dorchester Avenue, a public way in Dorchester. Located on its westerly side at address number is 1203-1219, generally between Hancock Street and Greenmount Street. This was new business on September 26, 2019, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Canopy and Projections Plan, dot block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet, dated September 16, 2019.
So,
Could I just for the record just have the folks introduce yourself again?
sure.
Yep.
Jeff Heidelberg from Deals and Thomas, representing Winter Gold LLC.
Greg Contente from Samuels and Associates, representing the developer.
James Gray, Stan Tech Architecture, the architects for building.
Rebecca Lee from Mintz.
Before you start giving the details, do you have a architect's rendering of what it is? Thank you.
So we are early on in the process of identifying prospective tenants. We want the ability to provide signage, banner signs, and other identification for them on the building. And so it is in this style that we're looking to have the prospective tenant illustrate their brand. And for that reason, we're showing these projections outlined for the zones where we would be seeking signage and banner signs.
And Jeff, also on this, or at least on what we're seeing the facade trim, correct me if I'm wrong, we are moving.
Correct, so it will be deleted from here, the architectural trim will be deleted from this plan and inserted onto the vertical discontinuance.
Questions or comments on the projection license?
Again, just for the record, Greg, you work for Samuels Associates?
Yes.
What's your relationship with the developer?
We are the developer. The owner is Winter Gold LLC. So we are developing for the ownership of Winter Gold.
And we have them on record as being the representative for
Yes.
the developer?
And we have signed petitions by Winter Gold LLC.
Okay, thank you. Could you put that, just want to get a little bit understanding as the awnings you're proposing, what height, what length, what depth? The awnings.
Yep.
The picture of the awnings.
Yes, I would suggest
Say
that
fabric awnings, that's about it, but beyond that,
at the moment, Jeff, I would ask you also maybe to put the, there's a image in the package of what, so these images,
the Dorchester Avenue, that corridor is, that's
Yeah.
where the money shots are.
exactly, we have an image of that shot.
What we are proposing.
Correct.
Not take 10 steps backwards.
Exactly.
So facing.
Yeah, so obviously, we don't have the identified tenants at the moment, and the notion here is that we'd like to give the tenants some flexibility within bounds to identify themselves and also to unify the project across the ground plane and the first 15 feet or so. So the awnings would be intended to be between the piers, and then at the piers, the notion of maybe blade signs and other kinds of identity and lighting, sconces along the wall, and things that make retail corridors both friendly, well-lit, and safe.
Right. So as long as there's an understanding that we are not giving you carte blanche blank sheet as to the type of verbiage and signage that can be there, okay? Because you are giving us very general kind
Sure.
of requests, and we want to be mindful.
This action is really just identifying the locations and dimensions of the building projections, and the project understands that they're going to have to go through actual design review for these projections once
So when
tenants
that
have been
happens,
identified.
Who takes care of it? Is it BBDA?
Yeah.
Okay. So BBDA through the buildings department will sort that thing out?
That's correct.
You're not currently anticipating any digital signage?
Sorry.
You're not anticipating any digital signage?
No.
Or are we giving you that permission now? That's-
Other questions or comments on the production license? Doug? All set. Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve on a petition by Winter Gold LLC for the granting of a projection license from the installation of retail signage, awnings, lighting fixtures, blade signs, and other building projections over portions of Dorchester Avenue, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Canopy and Projections Plan, Dot Block, Dorchester Avenue, Dorchester, one sheet dated September 16, 2019.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item, on a petition by One Post Office Square LLC for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of a temporary earth support system within Milk Street, a public way in Boston proper, located on southeasterly side at the side of One Post Office Square southwest of Oliver Street. This was new business on September 26, 2019. And this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Temporary Earth Retention Plan and Micropile Plan, One Post Office Square, Boston, 3 sheets dated September 2019. Morning.
Good morning, Commissioner and members of the Commission. My name is Michael Conley from Jones Lang & Sal, Development Manager on behalf of One Post Office Square. I have with me Jesse Siegel from Haley and Aldridge, they're our geotechnical engineer, and I have Nate Shield from Tech Rizzo, they're our civil engineer. A little bit of history, last time we were here, we mentioned we were before you last December 2018 for a temporary earth support system for Milton Oliver Street consisting of soil nail system. That pickup application was approved December 20th. The lowest level of soil nails were installed. However, we had severe utility conflicts in the upper levels of soil nails. We did an extensive exploration of existing utilities along Milk Street, and our engineering team determined that micropile would be the best solution. So we identified 17 micropile locations. The micropiles would support the temporary structures necessary for the project, a transformer vault and a tower hoist. And this would avoid adding any additional load to the sidewalk and roadway and impacting existing utilities. The pile locations were identified in the field. They were hand dug, excavated, and vacuum excavated. And PVC sleeves were installed. There's a photo journal on the plan that shows the exact location of every sleeve. So those sleeves would be used to guide our micropile in place. We submitted the plans to all the public agencies and utility companies in the abutters. We've had several meetings with Boston Water and Sewer, Phil Rupp and Denise Devlin. They were pleased with this plan, particularly that the sleeves were installed, avoiding all utilities and taking load off the sidewalk and the street. We are within our existing construction management plan, and we're not making any changes to that.
Can I ask you a question? What What shifts are you working right now?
Pardon me?
I've got some inquiries from the captain from the district. What shifts are you currently working out there?
Working 2 and 3 shifts.
2 and 3?
Yes.
What are the hours?
Pardon me?
What are the hours?
I believe 7 to 3, 3 to 11, and 11 to 7 in the morning.
Just make sure, just as a captain's inquiring, make sure that you're hiring the applicable details for that work
Yes, sir.
for those shifts.
No problem.
Thanks.
Other questions or comments from the applicant? Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the petition by One Post Office Square LLC for the granting of an earth retention license, the installation of temporary earth system within Milk Street, is read in the record by the chair, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, temporary earth retention in micro file plan, One Post Office Square, Boston, 3 sheets dated September 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. Moving on to our final public hearing item on a petition by Comcast of Boston for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install a new telecommunication conduit with city shadow within the following public ways in Boston proper. Locations are David Ortiz Drive at the rear of 771-775 Beacon Street, northeast of Overland Street/Maitland Street, and Overland Street between Brookline Avenue and David Ortiz Drive/Maitland Street. This was new business on September 26, 2019, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, 771-775 Beacon Street, Boston, 2 sheets dated August 20th, 2019.
Morning, Tim Cortell with Comcast. Just do a brief overview of the project and the notes of the last meeting. So it's about 650 feet of new conduit. We're going to install 4-inch conduits for ourselves, 2 4-inch for Comcast, as well as 2 of the quad ducts for the city shadow as requested. We had stubbed 2 4-inch conduits at the Brookline Ave intersection due to the paving, or prior to the paving that took place earlier this year. As requested by Todd, and we are going to add a 3x3 communication manhole to stub out the 8-inch-and-a-quarter city shadows. Continuing down the road, we are going to have those city shadows pass through our manhole as a pole point at the intersection of David Ortiz Way and Overland Street. And then once we get to the building, we'll have a separate breakout for the city shadow as well as our own manhole at the building. I also have notes from Boston Water and Sewer about the drainage and to keep in mind of other laterals that weren't noted, which we will, field conditions will determine.
Thank you for making those adjustments. Other questions or comments on this? No. Todd?
All set.
Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve on a petition by Comcast of Boston Incorporated for a grant of location within the following public ways in Boston proper, David Ortiz Drive and Overland Street, is read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, grant of location plan, 771 to 775 Beacon Street, Boston, 2 sheets dated August 20th, 2019.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to our new business section. First item is 40 Warren Street, Henley Street in Charlestown. Discontinuances, specific repairs, and projection license on a set of petitions by RECPV, 40 Warren owner, LLC. Morning.
Good morning. First, H.W. Moore Associates Civil Engineers. To my far right is Toby Banta. He's representing the petitioner, RECPV 40 Warren Street. LLC, and Tom Bedell is a project architect from BH+A. And Tom's going to give a brief overview of what the proposed improvements are to the building, and then we'll jump to the petitions right after that.
Perfect.
This is the renovation of an existing structure in Charlestown, close to City Square. This has been a building that has not had a lot of improvements for many years. It was built as a parking garage in 2 phases around 1920, and the renovation is to the interiors to create additional office space, as well as to add a 4th floor here. And for the facade, the existing building is a poured-in-place concrete parking garage, which was built right on the property line, the street line, at the back of the sidewalk. So to install the new brick facade to blend with the rest of the City Square Charlestown neighborhood, we're requesting that a small permanent strip of land along the Henley Street side and the Warren Street side be dedicated to this property so that the facade can go down to the ground in front of the existing building.
Got it.
That's really the overview of the building itself. And in terms of the street improvements or any specific repairs, we're maintaining the brick sidewalk along Warren Street. And we're maintaining the concrete sidewalk along Henley Street on the slope here. And we're also maintaining all of the existing street lights. We're not adding any landscaping or any other street improvements to the project.
Right. And I apologize, Mike, what is the current use and what is the future use going to be?
Current use was a mix of office space on the 3rd floor, parking garage on the 1st and 2nd floors, and some retail. So the new building will still have those same uses, but there's going to be more office space. There's parking garage just on the 1st floor, and the retail area will be expanded at the corner of the 2 streets.
Do you want to walk us through the actions?
So the first issue is associated with the discontinuous related to the building facade. Not this work. It would be 0.75 feet along the Warren Street frontage and about 0.35 feet along Henry Street. The area totals about 136 square feet.
Is this a surface or a subsurface discontinuance?
Surface. So there's a surface discontinuance for the building facade, and they also have additional aerial vertical discontinuances for building projections.
Reason? So you're basically taking 3/4 of a foot off our sidewalk.
Yes.
For what purpose? Because this building is there and you want to improve the facade because sidewalk widths are not the greatest in Charlestown.
Yes.
Challenged as it is right now.
As Mr. Vidal mentioned, is to improve the facade of the building so it has continuity with the existing Charlestown Square buildings.
So on to Para's point, on the specific repair plan, you're showing 6 feet from the curb edge to the building face. Is that after the discontinuance?
That's after, yes. You'll have a minimum 6-foot width along Warren Street after the building facade is installed.
And you're proposing removing about 3/4 of a foot up Warren Street.
And that's just on, that's just on the Warren Street side. On the Henley Street side, it's much less. That sidewalk is narrow to begin with. We're only taking.
So is the city council law upstairs?
I'm sorry?
The value of the discontinued?
The petitioner owns the fee in this land, so there's no BPDA taking. However, they are going to conduct an appraisal, and they will be compensating the city for the discontinuances. And they've been working on that appraisal, and it's close to being done, is my understanding.
Other questions on the discontinuance?
I just have a question on, recently, as of this past week, there's been some Eversource transformer work. Is that part of your project? As far as off of Henley Street, there's some transformer work going on to relocate and put into a new transformer? Is that for the building?
It's
Okay.
part of this building, yes, because of the renovations going on. Eversource said that they wanted to put in a new transformer. The previous transformer was put in the 1980s when just the third floor was office space.
And that's on your property?
No, it's an easement on the neighboring property, and it's also connected to the neighboring building. So it's not just serving this building, it's serving the neighboring building as well.
So if Eversource, just do me a favor, let Eversource know they're not working under your permit. They need to pull their own permit for that work. Specifically, I think we're gonna have a crane out there this weekend, so that needs to be pulled. All right?
Yes.
Thanks.
Take us to this for the repairs.
So the next petitions are for proposed discontinuance associated with the roof cornice, which would be about a foot in width along the Henry Street. That's 1 3/4 on each side, and another foot along Henry Street. It's identified as a width of 15
I'm sorry, sir. I'm having difficulty hearing you.
I'm sorry.
You were saying,
It's for a roof cornice.
so these are you're speaking of the discontinuances.
Yep.
My apologies.
Yeah, it's about a foot in width along Orange Street and Henry Street. So at the roof level. Totals about 312 square feet in area. This is further continuance B that's proposed for a canopy along Orange Street, turns the corner on Henry Street. Along Orange Street, it's 4 feet in width, the canopy, and along Henry Street, I believe it's a foot.
1 foot,
One
yes,
foot,
correct.
1 foot on Henry Street. And that discontinuance totals about 436 square feet.
And I was actually remember this by now, but the resulting sidewalk width is going to be 6 feet. You're going to have 4 and change be a canopy. How does that line up with our standards for?
So our typical maximum is 2/3 the width of the sidewalk.
At what height? Because, so you are at, so it is 12 feet above.
About 12 and a half feet above the sidewalk level. At the lowest point, it's a little over 10 feet at the upper part of Henry Street, but it's only a 1 foot projection. That's only the short section. This street is sloping down.
And so on the plan you have right there, it's showing, I think, on the sort of furthest, sort of on the northeast corner, that it comes out about 4 feet, sorry, to your left, closer to you.
This side?
You got it. So that's looking at about 4 feet and 4 inches, roughly, which would be going beyond sort of the 2/3.
It's 4 feet.
The sidewalk itself is much wider along part of the Warren Street.
Okay.
So we're looking at less than 2/3 at any point.
Perfect. All right, as
So
long as
that's been our plan.
Can you add the sidewalk dimensions to these plans?
yeah,
To
exactly.
add the
Add
sidewalk,
sidewalk dimensions to these plans, add some of those
In
key
your specific
points.
repair plan looks 6 feet wide at that point. So I hear you. Just to Todd's point, just make it clear that.
that's good.
And again, at that location, is it the canopy?
Yes.
And
And
if
there's a canopy and a cornice above it as well.
Well, normally we would have a canopy as a license agreement, so it is the cornices that would go for the discontinuance. I'm a little bit concerned about giving up that whole space all the way from the top to for this canopy.
Yeah.
Because once we give up that space, you know what happens, right? It's gone forever.
How's the canopy attached to the building? Is it a part of the structural?
It's bolted to frame elements that
That's
are
a
bolted to
license.
the building.
That's a license that.
Yep. So they have a
This is
project.
still business, right? So you can.
Yes, they have a projection license coming up as well for a blade sign. I think we can take the canopy off the discontinuance and put it on the
And it
projection
does the
license.
vertical discontinuance, so it is way up there and not 12 feet above the ground. You see, even from here, whatever in Charlestown.
I'll work with you on that.
Other elements of your proposed discontinuance?
We're also proposing cornices on the 4th floor of the building. So there's 2 discontinuance associated with that, one for Warren Street and one for Henley. They're identified as discontinuance C, discontinuance D. And we're also proposing repairs that have been scaled down since our initial submittal. We need to repair the first sidewalk along Warren Street, making utility connections to our root train and gas service. We're also proposing to install headstone on Henry Street to close off one of the garage entrance on that side and install concrete sidewalk. We're not proposing any relocation of any street lights or anything like that. Those will be retained and protected and preserved. They're gas street lights.
So hopefully I'm not overstating the situation, but I am of the opinion, I may be wrong, that by the time you do this wonderful project, our sidewalks around your building is going to get packed in an awkward way. So it may be in your best interest to plan on rebuilding the whole sidewalk, unless that is what you are saying and I'm not hearing you. Are you rebuilding the whole sidewalks?
No, we weren't.
So because I am fairly certain that your contractor, not you sir, your contractor may have difficulty, hopscotching and not disturbing the whole sidewalk. So it might be in your best interest to do what is sensible, because there will be damage by your contractor on our sidewalks by the time you build that wonderful project. So it might be useful for you to plan ahead, assuming that the whole sidewalks needs to be built. That's one. Two, as far as what the materials are, the city team will give you guidance, because some of the parts of our city falls under historic neighborhoods.
Yep.
What's the right way of saying it? Historic commissions.
Historic districts.
Districts, okay. And they will tell us whether it is going to be bricks, site, concrete, or whatever the heck it is, okay? So we will give you that guidance. It may be a better step on your part.
Just to follow up that with the commissioner, the construction management plan, because the building's zero lot line, everything, we've closed all the sidewalks, all the crane work, all the lift work is off the public sidewalks and roadway. More to the commissioner's, request. It's doubtful that walkway will be in great shape, probably very poor shape after it considerably gets out of there.
So it would be nice if you are going to clean it all up.
Yep. Yeah, we have before pictures, and we'll restore it.
Street lights. What are the? Oh, okay. So basically, anything that is within that sidewalk area is going to get tagged. Meaning. So as long as the nice civil engineers can think ahead as to what is going to happen to our infrastructure. See, what we are trying desperately to do is not to charge you an easement fee for being on our sidewalk. Because if I step 1 millimeter on your sidewalk, you will be asking me for a fee. You will be charging me. So we are trying not to do that and just ask you to fix what you're going to damage. Okay.
Other elements of the specific repair plan? Other questions on the specific repair plan? All right, you want to talk about the protection license?
Yes. Last petition is for a protection license for a sign along the building along Warren Street.
And it looks clear here, but same thing. I guess actually you are showing it. You're showing it's 6.2 inches, 6.2 feet in this location. This would take up about 4 feet. Is that right?
Yes.
And then if you can just work with Todd, it's sort of about the things that should be part of the projection license versus things that should be part of the discontinuance of analogy.
Yeah, it should be.
What is this sign?
It's a sign to identify the building.
Do you have a picture of what that might look? Is that by chance? Or if you don't, please submit that in advance to the staff and for our viewing pleasure at the public hearing. So this way we will know what is it that we are permitting.
Okay.
Is it a static sign?
It's a static sign.
Just a standards.
It's not a digital sign, no?
This is Charlestown.
The drainage structure that's in the middle of the sidewalk, just adjacent to the curb cut. What is that?
It was just picked up on the survey and identified as a storm drain. Looks like it's associated with the.
Associated with one that's in the curb, okay.
Yeah.
Other questions on the protected walls? Todd?
All set?
Members of the public? Okay. So you guys are 2 weeks? Does that work? All right, please hold on. Our next item of new business is 144 Addison Street, Saratoga Street, East Boston, pedestrian easements, specific repairs on a petition by 144 Addison Street.
Good morning, Chris Odney with Niche Engineering. We have Ben Thomas with Arrow Street and Steve Perdue with Redgate. We're here for 144 Addison Street in East Boston, project site. It's an existing parking lot right now. Got McClellan Highway, Route 1A on the west side, some residences on Saratoga Street on the east side, our Brandywine Apartments on the north side, and then Addison Street on the south. Project consists of, there's a rendering over here, 230-unit apartment building, residential units. The other site improvements on site, landscaping.
Just want to make sure I heard it correctly because the photograph or the rendering doesn't do justice. 230?
230, yes.
That is the most minute, whatever the opposite of oversimplification is what you are showing. That's 230 units. I hope you have a sort of a massing context of what that whole building looks like lead frame.
Sure. Yeah, we can definitely get that over to you.
Because all the way from 1A to Brandywine, essentially the entirety of that.
So it's a piece of the there's a large parking lot and then like industrial building right now in the parking lot. So this is a piece kind of smack dab in the middle.
In the middle of that, okay. Oh, that's the native description part, but that broader contextual piece.
Yes, right. So, like I said, 230-unit apartment building, site improvements, new landscape, and it's almost entirely impervious now. It's going to be substantially greened moving forward. So, for the specific repairs, I'll walk through those first. I think there are a couple of major items to basically bring up, which is so a new raised crossing across the intersection of Saratoga and Addison Street. So this would be going across Addison Street parallel to Saratoga. The existing condition there right now is there is an apex ramp on the south corner of the intersection, which crosses Saratoga and also crosses Addison Street. It's another apex ramp on this side of Addison, and then there is no crosswalk going across on this side of the street. So the proposed condition here is basically put in the raised crosswalk. We'll add 6-inch curb plus or minus around those corners to close off the existing apex ramps. And then we want to provide a better crossing that is an apex ramp across Saratoga Street. So we can't provide that on the south side because of the existing catch basin. The ramp would be right on top of it. So we're proposing to move it to the other side of the street, maintain the single crossing. And that way we can get a straight ramp going across, and then adding a new reciprocal ramp on the other side.
Got it. Sorry, Chris, I know you just said this, but you basically will still be only one crossing of Saratoga. You're just moving it from the southern side to the northern side.
Yes.
And you're going through a community process around, or that's part of the overall community conversation as well.
Yeah. So then, moving westward along Addison Street, this is our project site. Like I said, kind of sandwiched in the middle. The edge of our site is right here on this page. So in front of our site, there's a large 37-foot driveway existing. We're proposing to close that, put in a new vertical granite curb. There's also, on this end of the site, there are residences on Saratoga Street that currently have access to a driveway, which runs through our parcel, and then ends at a curb with a field, basically. So we're going to formalize that with a 20-foot curb cut. That's going to provide fire access both for some of the units back there and our building. And then there will also be a new curb cut for access to the urban court drop-off area for our project. And that's approximately 21.7 feet. And then at the request of the Facilities Commission, we've widened the sidewalk a bit in front of the site to maintain 7-foot width. So that required a small pedestrian easement to make that happen. Moving westward towards Route 1A, Holland Highway, it's pretty simple. We're just going to replace the sidewalk in kind, say cement concrete, and then level it out where needed.
No street trees today, no lighting
There's an
today.
existing street tree, where it's just going to be maintained. It's on sheet 2. There's one. That is right here. It's called
You're not proposing any additional street trees along all Madison Street now? There's not the space to, or it's just not in the design?
No, there's not really space. This is also not our parcel.
Got it,
so we can't.
So does this have this is obviously Article 80, large project review, and do you have a TAPA?
Yeah, we actually have it here today.
Yes, we have a town.
Guy Busa with Howard Stein Hudson.
Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Guy Busa with Howard Stein Hudson. Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, we have an approved TAPA that I just got back from Bob D'Amico today, and we'll be executing in the next couple of weeks. And the CMP will be in your shop before the hearings.
Okay, so is Kathleen putting that together?
Yes, Kathleen.
Make sure she's sending that over to Jessica Lynch.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So if I can get my bearing straight, the back of your property, sir, abuts Route 1A.
So it abuts.
Almost like if I'm buying or renting that very last row of houses or third floor, what am I going to be seeing? The top of the highway, or will I see the water? Trying to understand the limits of the back side.
Yeah, so if you're in the back of our parcel, you'll see a parking lot, and then you'll see the water off in the distance, over Route 1A.
Over Route 1A.
Yeah.
So all the construction vehicles that are going to support this project are going to come from.
Basically, they'll probably be coming off of Cloven Highway,
Yeah.
et cetera, or Bennington to Saratoga. I mean, that's why we want to see the construction management plan as far as what the truck routes are. Obviously, there's a deep concern within the community about being overrun with the construction vehicles. We want to make sure that we have that well in hand.
Right.
So we've been working with with Howard Stein Hudson on the CMP, and the plan is to keep all truck traffic on 1A. So northbound traffic would turn into the site. So just for reference, it's a 13-acre site total. Our portion that we acquired from that 13 acres is 3 acres on the eastern portion of the site, pretty far away from Route 1A, actually tucked into the neighborhood near Saratoga and Bennington Streets. So the goal would be to keep truck traffic coming in through the 10-acre property between us and Route 1A on the dedicated private driveway there. And then when the trucks go out, they would go back to 1A, turn right northbound, go all the way up to Route 16, make the turnaround and come back, or continue north. So we want to keep all truck traffic on Route 1A.
That's all well and good. Obviously, truck drivers have their own minds, so it's going to be very important that your construction management folks, basically, that's a key component of that CMP, is that they keep them on that track.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure, so on the locus plan that we have, it's showing that essentially, I think the full 13 acres.
Correct.
The part though that is your focus is really the 3 acres that are sort of currently a surface parking lot?
Yes.
All the way on the far east
Yes.
side, okay.
That's where I.
Okay, but you're still doing the entirety of the Addison Street sidewalk from 1A all the way to Saratoga?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Is the chief correct? I mean, you are doing that full sidewalk? Please say yes.
The whole sidewalk, yeah.
So, is
No,
this,
because you are going to generate more than a couple of pedestrians, and we just want them to have a better experience than what's there today.
So the full 13 acres, and you're doing 3, is there subsequent phases that will build out the rest of the parcel?
No, we don't own those parcels.
But is there potential that they're going to be under construction?
Not anytime soon. I mean, there are no plans currently to do that.
Yes, there is.
Chris, other things on the specific repairs you want to walk us through?
I don't think so.
Do you want to move on to the easement?
Yeah. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, just to maintain the 7-foot width along Addison Street in front of our parcel. We need a small pedestrian easement. The roadway is pretty narrow as is, so we're not proposing to bump the curb out. So to maintain that width, we're going to bring the sidewalk out to our site. But it is pretty narrow. It's less than a foot. Just a small sliver in front of the property.
They are unique us.
And you mentioned this before, but in the specific repairs, you're reducing the size of the height of the curb cut?
Yeah, there's a single 37-foot curb cut now, and then I guess we probably an informal 20-foot curb cut where people just jump the curb. Yep. So we're going to formalize that 20-foot one, and then the 37-foot one moves west a bit, becomes 21 plus or minus.
And one of those informal ones is ones that the residents currently use?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Guy, could you give us a preliminary summary of what the mitigation is for the tap?
Yeah, so. They have a good amount of off-site mitigation. One is the raised crosswalk that's here before you. We have $50,000 for improvement recommendations coming out of the East Boston Planning Study. $50,000 in order to provide a design for Hotel Drive, Reynolds Street, and the Ashley Street, Boardman Street intersection.
And who's that money go to?
So some of these are actually going to be done by the proponent, and I believe the $50,000 for the neighborhood plan is. I'd have to get back to the exact who's actually getting the money. But so the Boardman Street, Ashley Street intersection, we have not only a design, but $100,000 for implementation. So there's $150,000 for that location and $50,000 for a general improvement somewhere in the neighborhood that comes out of the East Boston Transportation Plan. And those are the primary things in addition to the raised crosswalk at Saratoga.
Okay, and who are you working with on those designs and/or?
They haven't started yet, so.
But who have?
Oh, it would be a BPDA and BPD coordinate. Yeah, BTD and BPDA, yes. Oh, excuse me, and then, of course, the rest of the sidewalk all the way up to Route 1A is also off-site mitigation. That's about it, really. And it's a standard, bikes, electric vehicles, car sharing type of TDM stuff, which is kind of focused on the project specific. But the off-site ones were the ones we just talked about.
Appreciate your keen insight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments on this? Todd? What's up? Members of the public? All right, see you guys in 2 weeks, or 24th.
Thank you.
Next item is 70 B Street, South Boston, a grant of location on a petition by Crown Castle Fiber.
Good morning, Commission members. Shelley Cullen, representing Crown Castle. And
Jamie Kazemi from Crown Castle.
Matthew Gerard from Crown Castle.
so this is,
Just before we go, so today you wear a different hat. You're not TC Systems, you're now Crown Castle,
Crown Castle.
okay?
I work for Axis Engineering, and so we represent a lot of different companies.
All right, so you should state that when you introduce yourself. You're not an employee of Crown Castle.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So this is about 400 feet on B Street, and we did put notice out to other potential participants, and we did not get any interest. So Crown Castle is looking to get this grant of location for them. We did put City Shadow in. One issue did come up from the Disabilities Commission, so I will mention that now. Let me show you. There's one hand pole on here, and it's right at this intersection with West 4th.
Yep.
And there is a crosswalk here and a crosswalk here. I kind of took a picture for you.
May I take a moment?
Sure.
I don't want us to be faulted in years to come. If someone is watching this conversation, there's no background. Even though we are so used to seeing you on a regular basis,
Okay.
just a couple of sentences as to why you are doing this.
Okay, this is,
So you need to say like round cost, I'm trying to do this, is it system upgrades or system expansion? Okay?
Yes, okay.
Because in this isolation, some of these hearings will look really, really weird in years to come due to the sheer lack of information.
exactly, I understand
So,
completely.
A few words of context.
This is part of Crown Castle's backbone, so they need to connect two locations. On one end, it's coming to a pole that will be aerial, and on this end here, it's going to an electric manhole. So they already have a network that's coming into that manhole, so this is just to make that additional connection.
And the manhole is who?
Eversource.
So, okay, we'll go there. So that these Eversource ducts are the ones which we changed electrical right, the electrical ducts which we converted to the communications.
We hope.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Just too many years of interesting work.
I understand completely.
Continue, please.
Well, so what I wanted to show you is at this intersection, we can keep the handhole out of this area, out of the crosswalk. So when you look at it on here, it looks like if someone needed to use that handicap ramp, they would just run right into that manhole cover, but that's not the case because it is outside, and we will make sure the contractors keep it outside of that area. I don't know if you want me to bring this up and...
One sort of related question, and why route it on the north side of the street rather than the south side of the street?
Honestly, I don't really know.
Just going on at least what we're seeing on the next page, you are bringing it all the way back to the south side of the street?
Yes, it's coming here and then it's going to cross over
Right.
when it gets here.
So why the logic of bringing it all the way up and then bringing it all the way back?
I can
want-
explain. Yeah. So Crown Castle basically has different networks, various networks. So the way it runs, some of them are aerial, and it ends at one pole, and the other one is through the manhole system.
Yep.
So connecting these two requires one of them going through the system underground, and the other one going up to the pole to connect it back to the network they have.
So where is the aerial connection that's requiring us to go on the north side of the street?
That's right.
That's at that corner?
Yeah. Yeah, so we had to cross one way or the other. So if we came down this side, we would have had to cross on the other side.
It's a minor point, but you're crossing twice rather than once.
Correct.
Right,
No,
so why
no,
not?
no, we're only crossing once.
Actually,
This is on
Right, so why
the
not
north
just go,
side.
it's a minor point, but why not just go straight to the south?
I'm sorry, I can answer that. We originally planned to go just straight down the south.
Yep.
And Boston Water and Sewer disapproved that, so we had to change it.
That works.
The design for micro trenching, because I'm totally lost as to what you all are doing, and I freely admit it, okay, because we have so many telecommunication companies coming.
Correct.
So your infrastructure, or whatever the support infrastructure which you are putting, does it require the full conduits, because that requires a deeper cut, because it is the city's asset that is getting compromised. Okay? So I really don't, I have my personal thoughts as to whether what you all are doing, but the city asset keeps getting cut and cut. So we have a distinction between putting micro trenches, which is a smaller disruption, versus this full blown. So who makes the judgment call as to whether this be?
This is actually a micro trench.
A micro trench, we're still in our South Boston paving program, and we want them in a traditional trench, so that when we get to them, we're not at risk of cutting them up. We're working with Katie's team to kind of define when and where micro trenching would be appropriate.
So all of that thinking is being done by team members and staffs to work that stuff out.
Yes.
Rest assured. Thank you so much.
So you want us to change this?
No.
Do not change the state of traditional trench. This is what we want.
No, this is actually proposed as a micro trench.
Then let's talk with Katie and we'll decide
Okay.
if, where this is going to be appropriate.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
So I'm interested to know, so you're in the same duct bank run as, so you're coming out of manhole 2272.
Correct.
Obviously, we have a manhole directly to the location you're trying to get to is manhole 2273, and you have intermediary manholes like 7407. What's going on there?
So Eversource manholes been at capacity through that span, so we couldn't list any part.
Sorry. So I find that extremely difficult to understand without Eversource being here. Now, if they give that information to you in writing that for suddenly intermittent manhole doesn't have the capacity, because when we gave up the farm by giving all these ducts, we gave it, I should say we gave it, okay, that's a poor choice of words. They have a very long continuous run, so I'm finding it difficult to believe that an intermittent manhole doesn't have the capacity, but I will have to take your word.
Because I would think that, manhole 2272 definitely has a lot more feeds coming, West 4th Street, Bridge, et cetera, that I would think that would have a capacity problem more than the East 5th or the other ones. So, to Parent's point, like some documentation from Eversource saying.
We do have a manhole, I do have the manhole breakout letter, but I assure you that Crown Castle would not want to dig any more than they have to.
That's
So if
correct.
they were able to, lease from Eversource or Verizon or anyone else, that would be their first choice.
Our first option is to find available duct to lease. And it's not in our best interest to dig. It's costly versus leasing existing duct. We have a process with Eversource where we review their network. They'll send inspectors out to check the manholes, check the capacity for the duct banks, and they'll report back to us. So we could provide documentation from Eversource.
Please. Because again, I get your point. You're in the same boat that we're in. We don't want you digging, and I'm sure you don't want the expense. But it's just tough to believe, that's all. And at West 5th, when you terminate, obviously your existing backbone is in the Eversource manhole system? Correct? So you're bringing that down to the 5th, and you're terminating in a handhole?
Correct.
And that's it? It just dead ends?
Then the Crown Castle has its own network. So this is Light Tower. If I explain, it's a different network. So it's gonna go over there, then they're gonna bring Crown down, connect them together.
So it's coming down off that pole at East 5th?
Correct.
Into the handhole?
And they splice them together.
And that's on a separate petition.
Okay, and where is from that pole, where is it going to?
That pole, it feeds, it goes back to South Boston and.
Oh, we're in South Boston, where's it going?
Honestly, it has different routes, so I wouldn't know exactly where it goes.
So I'm just trying to get the build out, what the rationale is, this link as it relates to the backbone and what the customers are that we're servicing with this.
How would you explain the network?
So I'm looking for the necessity to do this work.
Yeah, so essentially, it's a bridge to connect one area of our network to another. So,
And then it goes back to the hub.
and then it goes back to that.
So, if I explain is like, let's say we want to use light tower fiber networks to feed businesses in the future. Then we have to go through so many poles going down the road, going back to the main hub. Then Crown Castle already has all of that fiber being built up. It's there. So all we have to do is connect it back to that fiber, which goes back to the hub, which is BA Street, 450 BA Street.
And there's no participants in this?
No.
Wow. Surprise. Okay. Let's get the documentation on the,
Eversource.
Other questions or comments? Todd?
What's that?
No worries, the public? Right, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and you just have that Eversource letter. Be great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item of new business is 409 D Street, South Boston, a granted location, also on a petition by Crown Castle Fiber.
Morning. Chris Murray with the Giamari Group, representing Crown Castle, petitioning for grant location on D Street. The approximate area is between Anchor Street, passes Bullock Street by a little bit. The total amount of micro trench is approximately 555 feet. And as you can see on the plans, they're designed to connect 3 different electric manholes owned by Eversource. We've obtained the necessary documentation from Eversource to enter their manholes. I believe in either 1 or 2 of them. We have network already, and that's why we're making these connections.
Chris, I know you similar to the last one, about from just a network perspective, what are you getting out of connecting the 3? For service?
They're making network connectivity between the 2 far end manholes. And while they're passing the other one, they thought it would be beneficial to enter that one as well while they're there, for possibly a future small cell.
Got it, so you're showing the sort of potential lateral to a light pole.
Right, and as you can see, it's micro trench, and as you probably know, most of the micro trenching that we do in the city is designed for small cell connectivity.
And similar to, I forgot your name, but your comments before, is this also helping to connect essentially the light tower and Crown Castle networks, or building some redundancy in the system? Or?
Honestly, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. My colleague was working on it, so I'm not 100% sure.
I appreciate that answer from you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
so again, I have the same concern again. Bypassing numerous, Eversource manholes, you're breaking out of manholes, going back into your own system, going back into the Eversource system. I mean, if you could get me the same documentation for basically the conduit lookup and availability. Additionally, I know over the last 5-6 years, we've put numerous telecommunication lines in this street. So I'm just wondering why we aren't using that. There's got to be city shadow here. Definitely got to be city shadow. Have you looked at that?
We'll look into that. I know that we typically talk to Ed down in the basement for city shadow records. I'll do a little work on that to see what we found out in that regard.
Because this street has been dug up numerous times with telecommunications. So,
I mean, here you're not, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not even connecting to an asset on the street of a light pole. You're really just connecting 3 Eversource locations.
Correct.
That's the whole purpose of this project. I imagine there's probably some city shadow that would require part of that construction.
We are installing city shadow with that, yeah.
Maybe existing already.
And my question is, why didn't you jump on it earlier when we had the street open? So that's the crux.
And who have you been talking with? Who have you been talking to about the city shadow?
Ed Fletcher, I think.
John Fleming. John Fleming.
John Fleming, sorry. He maintains the records down in the basement.
Other questions on this? All right, between now and 2 weeks from now, you can just confirm with John that there is no existing shadow that goes between.
Will do. I'll send an email to the group.
Other questions or comments? All right, see you guys on the 24th. Does that work?
Thank you very much.
Until then. Our final item of new business is 690 Adams Street, Delmont Street, Oakton Street in Dorchester, a pedestrian easement and specific repairs on a set of joint petitions by the City of Boston Public Facilities Department and the Boston Public Library.
Good morning. Sorry, is this on? Good morning. Dominic Rinaldi with BSC Group, the civil site engineers and land surveyors for the project. With me today are Jim McGaffigan of the Public Facilities Department and Michael Schambacher of NADA, the project architect. We're today requesting specific repairs and a pedestrian easement associated with the reconstruction of the Boston Public Library branch at 690 Adams Street in Dorchester. Very quickly, just to associate with the project, plan left is north. The site is bounded by Adams Street, plan down, Oakton, plan left, and Delmont, plan right, and a couple of residential homes to the top of the plan. In a nutshell, it's the complete demolition and reconstruction of the library with a replacement with a new, larger, more modern library with indoor and outdoor space for group programs and overall enhanced programs for the library. Specifically, specific repairs will occur on all three streets with removal, resetting of vertical granite curb, and reconstruction of cement concrete sidewalks on all streets. Working our way around on Oakton. We'll be requesting a new driveway curb cut. This driveway curb cut's not for, there's no parking at the library. There will be no parking at the library. It's for maintenance and deliveries. One change that you will be seeing, there was a request from staff this week, is this driveway is going to be combined with the Butters driveway curb cut into one larger curb cut and change to the narrower sidewalk tip down curves. It's a narrow sidewalk. It kind of eliminates that sort of awkward, narrow, weird sidewalk between two curb cuts. Working our way down, we are going to be replacing an apex ramp on the corner of Oakton and Adams with two new curb cut ramps and crosswalks. On Adams Street, there will be custom tree grates.
Quick question about that corner. I assume it's a level landing issue, or why did we not square the crosswalk across Oakton to sort of be in the line of travel with?
So, in order to eliminate, it's a very narrow sidewalk, so in order to eliminate the apex ramp, you end up having to swing, and it is a level landing. If you'd like to kind of
May I say one, something slightly? Sir, so good to see you. This library, during election times, do we use this library as a voting location?
Yes.
I believe they do, yes.
Yes. Just for the record, I know the answer. Yes, we do. Right. So this location draws a fair amount of pedestrians, not just during library days, but during other days. And the chief's point about that location of the crosswalk, we sometimes put these crosswalks due to the design constraints that are there at a location where no one is, I should say no one, it doesn't get used when the crosswalks are not in line with the pedestrian path of travel. Because I'm quite familiar with this location. So could you take another tiny little step and see whether there are any variances which we can secure to at least give a ramp within that area so that the crosswalk lights up with the people's path of travel? That's all I'm asking.
Or alternatively, if you looked at a level, at a raised crosswalk, would that obviate the need for a level landing and consequently allow you to have a continuous path of travel on Adams Street?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you on that one.
Sorry, so one potential alternative is looking at sort of exactly, but if you had a raised crosswalk at that particular crossing, then you would not have the level landing constraint, which I think is why you
If we had a raised crosswalk.
May I say the following? Let's assume that I'm feeling really bad and I insist that the crosswalk needs to be in line. Okay, so that's the ask.
Yeah.
So now you be a good engineer and sort it out.
Yeah, and that's what I was
Okay?
saying.
Because I don't want us to do engineering over here.
Yeah, no, we
Right?
can certainly look at squaring it up more.
Do your thing. But right now, what you're proposing at a location where there's people in wheelchairs, people elderly, everyone who comes there, who we are trying to be part of our civic society, that's not a good solution.
Sure.
Okay, then they question our judgment as to whether we know what we are doing. So help us on that front.
I'd also like to point out to the commission that there's an elementary school located behind this.
Okay.
Which runs on Oakton and Delmont. That's the.
Great point. So,
Great point.
All set on it.
Yep, sorry, yes.
That's fine. Moving on, Adams, we're proposing custom tree grates with street trees, an accessible drop-off, sort of all that centered on the main entrance to the building, and custom bike racks. The bike racks would be the letters Adams, ADAMS.
did you say that the tree grates were custom?
Yeah, they're custom shape. As you can see, they're not rectangles. They're custom
Oh,
shape.
okay.
They're interesting shapes. Larger.
Well, okay. So, it's like old days. Because tree grates have a way of moving. Okay, trees have their way of moving. So you may want to keep it as standardized as possible because you will build it, the libraries will own this, maintain, and it becomes a bit of a maintenance challenge for us to even replace a odd shape. So as much as we appreciate the architect's vision for uniqueness, if you can balance that thing with the maintenance charms which we have, one more time on a sidewalk that's going to have massive pedestrian traffic. So we don't want to create these tripping hazards in front of a library. Okay, so just give some thought as to tree grades because I've had real challenging problems with tree grades that were customized in very narrow sidewalks.
As we continue along to the corner of Delmont and Adams, there is an existing apex ramp. We're proposing to rebuild that ramp as is, primarily due to a shallow telecom manhole and a utility pole that would make kind of what we have here that much worse, frankly, at that corner. Skew the curb ramp significantly, particularly Delmont.
I think to Laura's point, if you can take a look at that intersection the same way we should taking a look at the Oakton intersection, that'd be helpful.
And then as we go around further, the last real element is there's an existing driveway curb cut here on Belmont that we're going to be closing. It's not really used, and certainly won't be in the future.
When is construction supposed to start? After November?
Very started.
Yeah, we've started.
So you started?
Yeah. The demolition is started. We don't have a
So this
building.
building is not in the current election cycle, meaning in November this building is not going to be a site for voting?
The building will not be there in November.
No.
Tough question.
Any other questions on the specific repairs?
A minor thing, I think the bike racks are incredibly creative. if you could just run that by our active transportation team, just to make sure that they have any sort of suggested adjustments. But it looks really cool though. It's so nice. Sorry, keep going.
I didn't want to flip over.
Go for it.
On the pedestrian easement side, it is basically just about the full frontage of the building on Adams Street to primarily to account for the tree grades and get really the full width. This is all going to be cement concrete in front of the building and to provide that full width for pedestrian access.
So you are accounting for the tree grade going out of whack to allow a pedestrian sidewalk.
Yeah, if I remember right, the library will be responsible for the sidewalk and the tree grades. Is that an agreement?
Yes.
Guys, what's the reality of, I mean, that's us, right? I mean, library meeting, this is public
BPL will
facility.
be entering into a maintenance agreement for all of the specialty installations, including the bike racks, the tree grates, the trees themselves.
Even if it's the city, we need an agreement because Public Works is supposed to do it, so.
Right.
And we have not, correct me if I'm wrong, we've not received the LMI, the executed LMI for the Johnson building? We have not.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yep, our law department has been actively working with their law department to get that finalized.
Hopefully in 2 weeks.
Correct. So this is more on the BPL side, but the execution of that, to Para's point, I think also helps us understand that this would also be executed and maintained over time.
Absolutely.
All right. Other questions or comments? All right. We can look at the parameter seconds and then the focus on the LMI between now and October 24th. All right. Anything else you want to cover? No? All right. Don, any questions? Members of the public? All right. Thank you. 2 weeks. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I sent you an email, I called you about the Jackie Way to Jersey Street. Can we talk about that? I called the master agreement with BPDA and that they did maintain only on the game day. Yeah, I think they did the game day. I think the CFD has an agreement and the BPDA has got all of authority, so that's why I take on the game day.
And if you had moved on to the very, very top, I might.